LoreWarrior Aerotech. TR-13 Transgressor. Overview. The TR-13 Transgressor is the main heavy assault aircraft in use by House Lau. Normally assigned to frontline dropship units, the Transgressor also functions in defense squadrons of particularly important planets. Many favored commanders are given a Transgressor fighter, even if they command medium or composite squadrons. With its substantial armor, compact size, and heavy armament, it's one of the most well-balanced aerospace fighters in the successor states. Capabilities. The Transgressor is one of the more maneuverable heavy fighters in the successor states, thanks to its compact design and powerful Rawlings 300 engine. It is faster than many other operational heavy fighters and can take more high-G stresses than the larger-bodied aerospace craft. Armed entirely with lasers, the mech gets ample power for all of its weapons from the Rawlings 300 engine. Its 3 Celotex radionic large lasers provide massive firepower at long range, and the 4 Kajuka Type 2 Bright Blossom medium lasers, one of which is mounted to the rear rather than in the nose and on each wing, can cause considerable damage at short and medium ranges. As is the case with many aerospace fighters with laser mountings, the Transgressor has great difficulty dissipating its heat build-up fast enough, which requires salvo fire of the laser batteries during battle. It is the rare Transgressor pilot who has something negative to say about his aircraft, despite its several drawbacks. Many fighter pilots feel that the cockpit is too cramped, as almost all other heavy aerospace fighters have more cockpit room. The Transgressor is also somewhat unstable during atmospheric flight, because its stubby wings do not bite the air as those of other more massive heavy fighters. Not surprisingly, Transgressor pilots always prefer space combat to atmospheric, for it is in a vacuum that the craft truly proves itself to be exemplary. Battle history. During the defense of Alcala in 2992, House Lau reinforcements jumped into the system just as the Davian invasion forces began their mop-up of the defenders. With just about all of their frontier reserve committed, the Lau admiral ordered his assault air lance against the Davian dropships. The fighters, most of which were Transgressors, instantly streaked into the attack of the Davian fighter craft as they shot up from the atmosphere, where they were supporting mechs on the ground to defend their motherships. The fight lasted near 14 hours, and in the end, the Lau reinforcements had fought their way into orbit and dropped their mechs. Unfortunately, these were mostly destroyed in a pitched battle against the elite Davian mech regiments. With both sides near exhausted, the Lau admiral ordered a general retreat. Covered by their remaining Transgressor fighters and other craft, the Lau forces evacuated the world. The Davians did not pursue. In one of the more dramatic acts of aerospace combat, Captain Lyle Shumgawa of the 10th Defense Squadron engaged the Davian dropship Heraldic during the Battle of Tebalt in 2998. His Transgressor already damaged in atmospheric combat, Captain Shumgawa pushed into orbit and engaged the dropship alone in his fighter. The Heraldic apparently mistook the fighter for one of its own at first, but when the initial laser blasts impacted on the dropship's hull, her crew fought back with a vengeance. Shumgawa's Transgressor was heavily damaged in the exchange and all contact with him was lost. In an apparently deliberate act, Captain Shumgawa put his fighter into overthrust and rammed into the side of the Heraldic, tearing out a huge section of the hull as well as many engineering control cables and equipment. The Davian invasion force commander ordered the Heraldic's captain to try for a soft landing planetside. The pilot attempted the landing, but apparently his craft's engineering system had been too badly damaged, and the dropship burned up in the atmosphere. Variant. A popular variation on the standard Transgressor design is the TR-14 AC. In this version, a nose-mounted Tomozuru Type 20 with 10 rounds of ammunition replaces the prototype's 3 large lasers and 1 ton of armour. This alleviates heat problems caused by the mass lasers, but does add the new problem of ammunition limitation for the autocannon. After the AC-20 is empty, the Transgressor is left with only the weaponry of a light aerospace fighter. Notable fighters and pilots. Lucy Durbin. Many feel that Lucy Durbin is too good-looking to be a fighter pilot, but anyone who's fought against her knows that she's a formidable foe. Part of Eve's Air Lance of the 4th St. Ives Armoured Cavalry, Durbin fights in her Transgressor, the Duelist. She enjoys taunting her adversaries by space radio before engaging them, and in some battles even broadcasts a general challenge to the enemy, which is almost always accepted. Durbin has never lost one of her duels yet. Though it may be an archaic form of combat, Durbin insists it's a very valid fighter tactic. "Now I don't need a wingman to keep bogies off my back," she says. "When the bad guys accept a challenge, I know their squadron mates are honour bound to leave us alone to fight it out. I never have to look over my shoulder to see if I'm going 2 or 3 to 1. Colonel Harry S. Yoshida. Commander of the 6th Xi'an Defense Squadron, Harry Yoshida was one of the original designers of the Transgressor. He controls his composite squadron of light and medium fighters from his Transgressor, the Harry 1. Yoshida has 22 kills to his credit, most in Transgressor fighters. Too long on defence, he's itching for a fight. For some time now, he's been trying to get his unit moved to the frontier.